What's going on, Travis with the RAC Garage? Today we're working on the 37 Ford Sedan delivery, putting the kick panels in, making them, and possibly making the doghouse. So let's get into that. Alright, so I got some sheet metal, and we're going to turn this into some kick panels. I got it measured up. It's the two pieces I'm going to start working with are 12.5 by 16s, and probably have to trim the corners, round some edges, do some flanging. Fun stuff, and I'll bring you along. But first, let's cut those 16 by 12.5s out. Alright, don't mind the mess. You've seen I've been working on my own car, and when I do that, I make a mess. Got the two pieces. Now I'm going to start figuring out what shape I need these to be so they lay in place. So right now, let's actually take this over there and see how this square fits. All right, so this is gonna go right here. It's gonna rest on this lip and this lip up here. And see how it kind of goes around and curves? I need to cut that shape in, and there's an angle I need to put from here down here, so the side of this this panel will rest on it, so it'll have contact points on three sides. The fourth side will be attached to the doghouse up here, so I'll have to figure that out later. But essentially, pretty much just like that. So let me find some cardboard type of stuff. Let's make a template. All right, actually I'm not gonna make a template because I don't have any template paper. So what I'm going to do instead is measure very carefully. Okay, so I took my angle finder, found out this angle in relation to this back, which is, I don't know, 55 degrees or 80 degrees or 100. I don't know. It's one of those. So transfer that to my piece, maybe. That don't look right. Well, I'm going to do that right next time. I did the angle a little off. I'll transfer this again correctly. It's going to take more out of the top than the bottom. This is like this. So that should allow that to meet up with the bottom there. So let me redo that angle and do it right. Then we'll hop over to the shear. I'll cut it off real quick. Come back for another test fit. Okay, this is the right line, not this one. This one. Which, if I cut that, I would have been fine because I cut extra. I would have cut extra. Okay, that fits nicely. Now I want to get this swoopy angle here. So I think I'm going to use my radius gauge, press it against there, get the radius, and then figure out how long this needs to be, then I'll set it from there. Alright, so it sits on the lip all the way around. It will sit on this lip once I do a little fancy work down here. I need to cut this angle iron and tack weld it to here, so this panel will sit on the angle iron, and this corner, don't really know what I'm going to do yet. I'm going to do something, but I'm going to leave it long for now. It doesn't hit anything, which is good. There's plenty of room. I just don't know the shape of the doghouse, what I'm going to do there. It should be fairly simple because it doesn't really, transmission really doesn't protrude that much, so it's kind of just going to be a slight hump the whole way, so that'll actually be pretty easy. I'm gonna put some beads here and here, but for now I'm just gonna do this outline because I don't know where I want to start the doghouse, and I don't want these beads running into it. I want it to have a space Like I want to start it here. I want a space before it hits the other bead. I want a space before it hits the hump of the doghouse. It's just going to look better. It would look like shit if they just kind of ran into it. So just going to do the perimeter for now. It's not going to be a bead on the bottom or a joggle. It's not going to be one on this side. So just the top and the side. I got the step dies in the bead roller. It's a Harbor Freight bead roller. As you can see, it's been strengthened. Works all right still. I need to upgrade. This will do for now. Let's get rolling. Alright, so as you can see, I got the bead, and I put a bead down here because there's a lip on the floor pan and it meets up nicely when there's a little joggle down. I don't know how far I want to take this, so I only took it up and over to here. I didn't do this line down here just because I don't know what I'm doing yet. Fits in just like that, and now I'm going to put some of those Tech screws across, about like 3 on here just to hold it in place, and then we'll move to the other side, do the same thing. It only took 2, so that's cool. I just don't want it to move while I make the other pieces. Alright, getting a little ahead of myself. Let's get a light. I was waiting for this light to charge, and I just kept on working and didn't record. So, alright, teeny tiny recap. That one has been bead rolled on the edges. This one obviously done on the edges. I took some measurements of this piece that I want to make here, cut out a piece and rolled it with a slip roll. I did a tighter roll on this side and kind of a sweeping curve over here, because that's pretty much how these transmissions are. It's kind of a tight here and then it kind of gets wider. So that's kind of how I'm doing it. I am going to make a line somewhere there, bend these up so this middle will come down, it'll be flat, hump up, and be flat again. So I just need to figure out where I need to make my lines. Then we'll take it over to the brake and we will break the edges. Hopefully this will sit flat. I might just have to trim the ends a tad. So I got the shifter on. I needed to put that on because I need to know where to put the hole for the doghouse. So I got that on. Got the trim ring piece for the shift boot, and I figured out how far up. It needed to be 7 inches up to the center of this. I drilled a hole here. I'm gonna drill it out to a bigger hole so I can get my snips in there. Cut the circle around and do a test fit. See if I need to open it up more. If I can even use that trim ring. Let's get this cut out and test fit and see if we can see if it's tall enough to work. Ready, so I got the 2 panels on here, just tech screwed in place for now. I have this here. At first it was flat and I thought it was fine, and then I put the shifter on and you know, stuff hit the shifter. So I kind of unbent this line here on each side to raise the center up, and then I kicked out the last inch of this, so now it's a flat flange. It goes up on an angle, it does the nice curve, comes down on an angle, and the flat flange again to going to the floor. Right now it's kind of hitting this arm. Well, it is hitting the arm on the park, and I think the reverse. That's neutral. It doesn't hit it, and then the rest is fine. And it also hits as the arm comes down, and there's a heim joint that connects, and it hits about right here. So I need to create a blister here. I want to make this part here because I don't like how open it is right now. It looks unfinished, and I did a lot of work, and it just looks like it's still not covered up. So put that piece in there, and we'll be cooking with grease. Alright, so I got this top piece and this bottom piece tech screwed in. These kick panels teched in, that's what I'm trying to say. So I'm going to put a bead here and here, and I will do the same on the other side. I know they're not even. This one's closer to the bottom, but for some reason I don't mind it at all. I'm going to do that on the other side. I'll probably stop it same distance, I think 1.5 inches from the edge, 1.5 inches from this edge. I'll stop it. The other side though, it actually is not going to be the same. I need to drill a hole for the steering, and I also need to drill a couple hole, actually just one hole for the brake pedal to go through, because I had to take it off to even get that fitted. It's looking pretty good here. Now I just need to deal with some little tricky bits. This part's not going to be that tricky. I'm just going to kind of put a marker line, take this bottom out, cut it, tack everything back in, tack it in place, untack the screws, fully weld it, planish it, make it look nice so this piece can come on and off. And yeah, I think I'm either going to put some threaded nutserts in these pieces here and on the other side so that this piece can bolt on. I'll probably do the same to this floor pan here. And then I need to figure out what's going on here. So we got this piece stacked up. What you saw me doing with my planishing hammer is stretching out the metal. So I had to stretch out mainly this side here and this side here because I made this piece a little bit bigger, so it kind of almost matched up in the middle. It matched up on the sides fine, but this arc was a little bigger than this one, so I had to stretch the edge and to make it flare out and meet this piece, and it worked out beautifully. So I'll fully weld this thing, get it back in the car, figure out what I need to do here for either a blister or something like that. Then hopefully it'll test fit, and this piece at least will be done. The kick panels should be done for now. They're not welded in. I'm waiting for steering and gas pedal brake, stuff like that. I don't want to make any beads in the panel or weld it in before I have to do a bunch of work to it. So this is kind of going to be light mock-up. It's gonna build everything ready to be finally welded, but we're not going to. We're gonna save that for the end. Let me kick ass. Alright, so I put these beads in these kick panels, and you saw me on the planishing hammer. Since I don't have my English wheel, I let a friend borrow it. I pre-stretched the bead areas with really high crown die on the planishing hammer, and that worked. It worked a treat. Panels are flat, no distortion, and now they're even more solid than they were with this edge turn on it. Same with this one. I kind of did 5 passes at like medium pressure. That thing really moves some metal with the high crown die on there. So pretty happy with that. So yeah, let's put these in, kind of tack everything in place and look at it and make it all pretty, because that's pretty much all I'm going to do for this on this episode. Disaster struck. I didn't catch it on camera, but I'll explain what happened. So I have these punch and flare dies, and I also have a punch and bead die that puts a round bead around the 2-inch hole. And I decided I want to do that on the hole that the brake pedal goes through. You usually take this gun, usually a 1/2-inch gun works better, but I don't have one. I just have this 3/8. So usually you do that, squeezes it, cuts the hole, flares it, or beads it. The gun wasn't cutting it. So I decided to just take my ratchet on the hole, tighten it. And I'm tightening it, and I'm tightening. And the thing slips. Slips off. Slice my fingers right on the edge of this panel. So that ruins the night. And I'm not going to show you a picture of my fingers because that'll be gross and YouTube probably won't like that, but couple blood spots, blood on the door handle. It was a mess, but I'm going to finish what I started and get this hole finished. Since the real hard time this had and why it took me so much force to pop it through is because it's trying to punch a hole in 18 gauge metal before it beads it. So when it let go is when it actually cut the hole fully. That's why I guess I didn't slip off. It kind of just let go, and all the pressure I was putting on that ratchet just into the top of my fingers and on the edge of this panel, freshly cut. So it's a pretty deep cut. So I think I'm just going to take the bolt out now and put it on the press and press it down since everything's aligned. Because that's a problem. You can't just put these on a press because you don't know if you have the top and bottom dies aligned. I figured I'd explain what happened. Let's go to the press now and finish this off the safe way. Alright, so I got this in the press now. So after it punches the hole, the part that punches it kind of lines up with the upper die. So you can use a press, but getting it to that point where you can, getting it to the point where you actually get through the sheet metal is the tough part. Look at that. Yeah, it's a nice little detail there. Bring it over to the light so you can see it better. Alright, here's what I was going for. This nice bead around the opening. Hopefully the the pedal's pretty centered in it. We're gonna have a some kind of rubber gasket or something on the either the back side or the front side anyway, so you probably won't even see that. But you know, just little details that make it count. So let's put all this stuff in. Not for the last time, but for the last time in a little bit, and we'll get working on another part of the floors later on. Alright, so I'm pretty happy with how things are coming out so far. I think I just need to deal with this transition right here. I think I'm going to mess with the tunnel instead of the doghouse. And I also need to make some kind of blister here, like I talked about before, because it starts to hit the bottom of the doghouse right before it goes into park. It wouldn't be too bad. I think I'm going to shape something on the planishing hammer with a high crown die, kind of just make a blister and shape it to here. You know, trace it, cut it out, weld that blister in. But everything else lays flat. I like how there's flanges on everything, so it looks pretty professional. I think there needs a piece here because I can stick my fingers underneath. I like how it comes up, so I think I'm just going to weld a flat piece to the front of this, maybe at an angle, so maybe you can kind of lift it up. After this is, if you want to take it off, it'll be an easy way to kind of pull it up. But yeah, also I want to figure out or make a tool that I can finish off these beads, because right now they kind of come across and just kind of fade out. So I remember seeing somewhere where they took a punch, like that you would punch holes out of leather, flattened it so it didn't cut anymore. It was kind of just it kind of made it dull. They just flattened it out and cut, I guess they cut a piece out of it. So it was kind of just like a half moon shape. So you could take it, lay it on the edge of the bead, hammer it down, and it'll make like a half moon here, and kind of giving a definite edge to the end of the bead. So I think I'm gonna go to Harbor Freight and try to see if I can't make something. But yeah, floors are coming out really nice. I'm excited. This came out nice. I think we need to put like a rubber stop on the brake. Everything else is looking real nice. Really happy with myself. That's pretty much it. Alright, so I'm gonna end this one right here. Thanks for liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing my videos. You guys are the best. On to the next one. Later, guys.